Happy greetings to everybody. On behalf of the Heartfulness community channel, we are very happy to invite all our brothers and sisters, our seekers that are interested to learn the techniques of the Heartfulness way given by the great elders, our living guide, Revered Daji. So we can implement these techniques, practice these techniques, and bring about the transformation that we are looking for. So we are very happy to present these from our Heartfulness community channel. Today we wish all our members, our viewers, happy Ganesh Chaturthi, a festival celebrated in India. For those of you who are celebrating it, very warm wishes to all of us. And there is a beautiful article written about the true significance of this celebration by Revered Daji, and it is available on our website daji.org. So, those of you who are interested, you may check it out. So, today we want to explore and understand the teachings of the great Babuji Maharaj through his 10 maxims that he has given to all of us. He says if we are able to practice these 10 maxims, we are able to cover the 5 steps of the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, the yamas, the niyamas, the asana, pranayama, and pratyahara. All these steps will be covered if we practice these 10 maxims. So we explored with this concept of first understanding the first maxim where we talked about rise before dawn. So the first step is to rise before dawn and then fix a place, time, posture, and then begin the meditation with a prayer for spiritual evolution with a lot of love in the heart for our goal that we have fixed. And then we fix the goal to be complete oneness with the ultimate. And today Babaji is talking about arriving at simplicity, because today's maxim is about be simple and in tune with nature. And Daji also says simplify your life to be identical with nature. What does the great masters mean by simplicity? Because in our human level, we understand simplicity as, oh, if I'm just wearing white clothes, I'm simple. If I'm not wearing jewelry, I'm simple. If I don't live luxuriously, I'm simple. This is our understanding of simplicity. But what is the real understanding of the great masters about simplicity? That is what we're going to explore today. What is the real understanding of simplicity? Because if we look at our cleansing technique, the technique says all the impurities, complexities, darkness, and heaviness are leaving my system. And the aim is when impurities leave, purity manifests in our being. When complexities leave, simplicity manifests in our system. And darkness leaves, light happens. When heaviness leaves, lightness happens. But complexities, removal of complexities brings our state to a state of simplicity. So, what are these complexities for the human being that is disturbing their original nature of simplicity? So, the original nature, why are we doing the cleaning? To arrive at that state of original balance. And that original balance, which started at the latent motion, very near to the center, the Bhuma, has that original nature of purity, simplicity, light, and lightness. So, that is the simplicity that the great masters are talking about, which is in the origin of our being, which exists in that absolute state of balance of our being. For that, we have to shatter the networks that we have created, our individual networks, From that state of original purity, simplicity, lightness, and light, we journeyed towards the external world in such a strong way. By diverting our thought and mind, we created complexity, a complex network, a web of impressions, which became energy pockets holding on to negativity, knots. That's why Babuji never calls them chakras. He calls them knots in his terminology. Because now you have to unknot the complexity to move back to the simplicity. So it is not, simplicity is not as simple. It is not just like, oh, I am just walking in the woods and I am simple. Why are they comparing? Bring your lifestyle to be identical with nature. In nature, see, evolution is in human beings. In animal kingdom and plant kingdom, it's a natural evolution. If plant kingdom, if you look at it, what God created, they kept it because they did not create any impressions. That is why revered Daji says, the great masters say, why they want a place like Kanha where there is so much greenery is when they charge us with the prana, the life force, we have so many potholes inside ourselves, we lose it. Whereas trees, they retain this transmission and they are able to emit. That's why when we go into a forest, we're able to feel the peace inside ourselves because they have retained their simplicity of their original state of being. Whatever original state of being that God has created, the plant kingdom was able to retain it. We are disturbing it. Whereas what we created for ourselves when we origin, we disturbed it with the complexities of our thought pattern, completely, our senses completely going outward. So, what is the solution? How do we arrive back at this simple state that Babaji is talking about? Be simple and in tune with nature. Is to shatter in our individual network and shake off the superfluous things that we have created and reduce our activity of this mind, the individual mind, and arrive at that state of purity and simplicity. And this is possible if we connect ourselves to the consciousness of the perfect guide, the living guide on the planet Earth who is connected to the ultimate source. We all understand not every great master is connected because where there is a need for one, nature doesn't create many. So there's always one living guide on this earth plane through the heartfulness way who is connected to the ultimate source. By connecting ourselves to his consciousness is how we arrive at this state of simplicity. So let us now understand it in little bit more depth by looking at the PowerPoint of what the teachings of the great masters. So simplicity is to be identical with nature. Be simple and in tune with nature. Babuji says be plain, open hearted, plainness, and simple to be identical with nature. Simplify your life so as to be one with nature, says revered Daji. What is the meaning of simplicity? Simplicity is the very essence of nature, the ultimate nature. And Babuji says it is the reflection of that which existed in the absolute in a latent state. The center where there was a stir, and from there the creation began. The very close to this center is this latent state of ultimate divinity, which we are connected to, the godly region. And that has this state of that latent state, has this state of being of simplicity. So when they are talking about simplicity, they are talking about the highest. And it can be aptly described as the quintessence of the ultimate. This is, in fact, the life substance of nature. So, from this simplicity, man fell into the sphere of illusion, Maya. because our thought is diverted towards the downward flow of the world. And that is where the pranahuti emanating from the guide's consciousness helps is now the thought needs to move back to the source, and we are unable to, we are so caught up in this illusion where our senses, our mind, everything is going outward, the thought flow is outward, we are unable to pull it inward. And that is where the greatest help is, when the great master with his will and the transmission diverts our thought flow towards the soul. And now our journey, true journey, begins to moving towards that ultimate state where we in this process go through the unknotting of our each knot with the help of the pranahuti from the master, and move towards this state of being of this latent motion where simplicity exists. So simplicity per revered Daji is when we are in tune with our goal. Look at this, we are thinking simple means I'm wearing simple clothes, I'm not dressing up, I'm not enjoying the food, I am very simple. Very wrong meaning. Simplicity is being in tune with goal, complete oneness with the ultimate, and our life simplifies across all dimensions. It is like Raja Janak. He lived in a palace, but his attention was on his goal. That is why he was praised. He was one of the greatest kings, where sages of the yore used to send their children to learn from him, because he had a mind that was focused on his goal. And his ultimate simplicity is the only methods that take us there are the simplest methods. To arrive at this ultimate simplicity, the method has to be simple. And that is what heartfulness provides us with a method. When we are in tune with our goals, our own creation leads to, when we are not in tune with our goals, our own creation leads to complexity. So, this is what Daji's explanation. Fix your goal, be in tune with your goal, that will automatically lead you to moving from complexity to simplicity. And when you are not in tune with your goal, you are in a state of complexity. And that is what his description of simplicity is. So, surrender is the key to simplicity, says Revered Daji. That is why in every meditation, with every breath, we are learning to let go. Let go of unnecessary marks. We are letting go of the thoughts. We are ignoring the thoughts. So, the minute we can let go of our own creation, magic can happen. That is why so much importance is given to acceptance and surrender in spiritual systems. Surrender is the key to simplification. In the sage Patanjali's uh, words, he calls it chitta vritti nirodha. This is what Daji tries to explain to us. What does it mean? When our impressions, vrittis, our samskaras are running like a wheel, controlling our karma. If your mind does not support this wheel, the wheel eventually falls off. That is the way to nirodha, to let go. And then you arrive at that state of awareness where you don't make any choices, no opinions, no choices, which he calls is as a choiceless awareness, where the mind is in the state of dhyanaja chitta, that is meditative mind. Now we have arrived at a meditative mind when we let go of these choices, choiceless awareness, which leads to acceptance. What is a choiceless awareness? Whatever is happening to me in this moment, I accept. That is where we all struggle. We all struggle at different aspects. There are things that we accept, there will be one or two things that we don't accept, and that is the sadhana where we introspect. And that is what Daji calls the pothole. We have a hole in our pot, and every time he transmits, it leaves from that place. Because I once had an experience when I was with Chariji. He was giving a sitting, and there was an air conditioning room, and in those old days, there was only that foam up there, and he was going and poking it. I said, "What are you doing, master?" He said, "There is a hole there, and every time the AC is there, it leaks from here, so I have to fix it every time. There was no need for him to go do that at that moment. He was actually pointing it out to me. There was an emotional weakness where every time something happens, my energy gets drained out of that. And it's for every one of us. So we have to fix those potholes to arrive at that true states of simplicity, purity. This journey is very important. And for this, what is this meditative mind that supports this? Is arriving at that state of stillness with every meditation, every day, with persistence. We have to arrive at that state of stillness. Keep bringing ourselves to this state of acceptance and surrender, where we don't trigger the samskaras, the impressions, with our thought flow and support it. We learn to let go. So, surrender is the key to simplification. So, how can we work with the value of simplicity to transform ourselves from inside out? What is it that is a block in our journey, a roadblock? Ego. It is a plain identity. It's our ego that is becoming a block for our inner journey towards this ultimate simplicity. So, our sadhana, the tapas that we are doing, the meditation we are doing, the meditative mind that we are trying to arrive at, which gives us this state of pure seeing, allows us to refine our ego. So, ego, the individual identity, it is our individual identity, and in its original form, it is simply a plain identity without any preconceptions or attachment. In its original form, ego is good. Without that ego, none of the masters exist. It is their identity, they have their individual identity. But when this ego is exaggerated with the support of the mind, giving it, I am great, I am big, I am this, I am that, I am rich, I am poor, even negative identities. When we are supporting the ego with all these belief systems, the so called belief systems, I am Hindu, I am Muslim, I am Christian, the ego is in a state of complexity. So, ego needs to be refined to simplicity. So, ego is connected with this mind and energy sheath, which is known as pranamaya kosha. The fire element in each chakra is connected together to create this pranamaya kosha, which is the energy sheath. And this energy sheath is very important. It supports everything. Anytime we overdo anything with our senses, it is the pranamaya kosha, the energy sheath, that has to support our activities. And when that gets depleted, when the energy sheath is depleted by supporting too much of our external activities, that depletion affects our mind sheath, so we cannot think clearly. That depletion affects our wisdom sheath. We do not have the wisdom, thereby we lose our balance and clarity. So it is important with sadhana to come to that simple state. We don't drain any of our energy sheaths. So, as a function of the mind, this it is associated, the ego is associated with the energy sheath or pranamaya kosha. Without it, we will not be able to think or act. And ego is connected with our belief system. But as complexities develop in our field of consciousness, the ego, originally what was just a plain identity, it hooks itself to these complexities and thereby distorting its purity of identification. We start identifying ourselves instead of our pure self, which is divine. We identify ourselves with our beliefs. I'm Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, all this. We identify ourselves with principles. See, good people have problems. A lot of times I have a problem. I have a problem accepting weaknesses in others because I don't do that. Even that is wrong. So this ego identifying itself with beliefs, principles, culture, conditioning, ambition, roles, possessions, we create a belief system. So if we want to simplify, we need to change our belief system and connect our consciousness to the consciousness of the living guide, which is simple, and thereby we shatter our individual network. So what is our true nature that we are trying to arrive at? Simplicity is our essential original nature, and simplicity means purity of consciousness. See how brilliantly Babaji Maharaj has created a system with cleaning with one sankalpa. all impurities, complexities, darkness, and heaviness is leaving. So he's helping us, if we do our day to day cleaning, helping us to arrive at this state of purity of consciousness, simplicity of the consciousness, lightness, and light. So, simple. What is simplicity according to revered Babaji? It is the reflection of the latent motion, the very center, which is very close. The latent motion created at the time of creation is very close to the ultimate Bhuma, and it is the reflection of that which existed in latent form before creation. And according to Babaji Maharaj, simplicity is stillness and silence, because it is the base of existence where stillness and silence prevailed in this latent motion. And that is why the meditation, we are trying to arrive every day at this stillness and silence. And Sage Patanjali says, when the mind is able to arrive at this stillness and silence, in that silence of that ultimate seedless samadhis, nirbija samadhi, he calls it. In that state of samadhi, samskaras leave us, let go. When we arrive at that state, samskaras leave us, and that's how Revered Daji says we change our destiny. That is why his book, Designing Destiny, his call for humanity is let's meditate. Why do you think the great master from day one is saying, let's meditate, design your destiny, let go of things, come to this state of dhyanaja chitta, meditative mind, silence. And Babaji says simplicity is beyond the shores of thought. That is why we have to destroy our individual network. It is our thoughts, the senses going outward. So pratyahara is a very important step. And pratyahara, this diversion of our thought towards this inner silence, is only possible when we receive the pranahuti. That is coming from the living guide. So beyond shores of thought, it exists beyond the simplicity exists beyond. So where is this simplicity? It is at that near that latent state. So when they are saying become simple, they are saying achieve your goal, fix your goal, go back to that ultimate state. And Babuji says simplicity is origin of existence. It is that very origin from which all forms burst forth into existence. So when we go back to that state beyond creation, it means dissolve into singularity and beyond. And that's why the sages said, Neti, Neti, Neti. Nobody could describe godly region. This is not it, this is not it. That because it is singularity. There is nothing for you to compare. That is why in the cosmic region, there is no dualities. There it's only ego refinement. Not this, not this. It is divinity. And you go towards divine with wonder when we connect ourselves to the Guru's consciousness. So that's how we arrive at simplicity. We have to carefully remove all the kinks and knots and straighten, shattering our individual network. I mean, look at the terminology that Babaji Maharaj uses, the kinks and knots. So we are knotted. And that is why a lot of times in the journey, these are pockets of energy that are knotted and they are just bursts coming forth. And that is the work of the master. A lot of times before a celebration, we all go through intense cleaning and we are wondering, I've been meditating so long. Why the hell am I going through this anger now? Why am I going through this emotion now? Why am I doubting my own Guru? We wonder. We think that, we are sincere people practicing. It is because these kinks and knots are being loosened. And what we have been holding on for eternity is now leaving. Our job is to let go and let it happen. Holding on to the Guru's consciousness with faith. He who has brought me this far is trying to take me further. I bow down, I surrender to this cleansing that's happening to me at this moment. Move forward. Arriving at simplicity. We have to reverse the flow of our intention and attention from the outward pull of greater and greater complexity, diversity, and entropy to the inward pull of simplicity, purity, and unity. Simple pratyahara, diverting our flow of our thought towards the goal that we have chosen with so much love. And that brings us to that state of simplicity, purity, and unity. We realign ourselves with the centripetal flow towards oneness, towards divinity. How can we realign ourselves? Daji gives us very simple clue: connect yourself. Every time, get up, connect. You're reading, connect. You're eating, connect. Connect yourself to the master's consciousness, and that creates that flow towards inward. And simplicity is not simple, and we all know that. You can only arrive at simplicity with dedicated practice with the help of the living guide. This dedicated practice, if anybody reads Whispers, there is two words Babaji Maharaj keeps on using: persistence in your practice and arriving at love, arriving at the state of love. Without these two things, spirituality is not possible. And that's why recently there is a little clip of video that was released by Revered Daji. He clearly states there, if you are not able to love your own husband and your own children, how are you going to love God? How will we love our own husband and children if we accept them in their totality as what they are? And keep sharing, allowing this love to float. I always like this Instagram, you click that love and hearts flow up, even in Facebook. That's all our intention is. Let this love that we have, we simply see these hearts flowing into our husband. He may not be the perfect one. Are we perfect to expect any perfection in others? Or your children? Anybody. We just keep sending this love. So we transform and they transform. So we can arrive at this simplicity with dedicated practice, perseverance. And after willingly taking the help from the guide for our onward journey, see, once you have accepted the guide and receiving the transmission, our part is to refine our character and behavior, which is the human side of life. How can we refine our character? We have to master each chakra. We have to meditate apart from the regular meditation. Take up each knot, each chakra, and meditate thoroughly to master it, absorb the qualities of that. And with this idea, the darkness is leaving, light is leaving, luminosity is leaving, and this particular chakra, the first chakra, is coming to a state of absolute balance, intentions, meditation. That is what Daji calls as AEIOU. How do you acquire, absorb these states of being into yourself and become one and in union with this each state of being? And revered Babaji says, who says that you can reach the ultimate without mastering each chakra, without journeying each chakra? And how do we do that? Dedicated practice of each chakra. And with mastering each chakra, what happens to us? When you're able to master the first point, you remain balanced. When you're able to master the second point, you arrive at a peaceful state under all circumstances. You may go through cleaning, but that inner core of the peace is not disturbed. You may be going through so much outside, but your inner balance is not disturbed. And when you master the fire point, this pure love starts to manifest. You are emotionally stable and you are able to share your guide with all. There is no selfishness there. And when you arrive, master the fourth point, you become this courageous being who has love. And that is when we arrive at this state of witnesshood, choiceless awareness, and surrender begins. And when we master that fifth point is when we arrive at state of discrimination, viveka as it's called, pure seeing. And from this state of pure seeing, we are able to see God everywhere. So all this refinement is our job. Master keeps transmitting, but if we want to arrive at this true simplicity, we have to do our work. So spiritual growth is the work of the guide, but character development is our work. So heart region, journey of the heart region is our job. And real expansion happens only when there is both vertical and horizontal growth in proportion to each other. Refinement of ego to surrender to simplicity. Unless we refine our ego, until we reach a certain elevation in our spiritual journey, we will not be able to manifest the capacity for surrender, which results in simplicity. So, that particular elevation is known as chakra 9 in our spiritual journey, because after we cross the first 5 chakras of the heart region, as we enter the sixth point, Agnya chakra, it is the beginning of the cosmic region. And then the seventh point is the paracosmic region. And eighth point is where it is known as Prapanna, where surrender, we see glimpses of surrender inside ourselves. And to cross from 7th to 8, you need the help of the Guru. And and when you move to from 8th to 9th is the state of Prapanna Prabhu, a state of surrender, where you are still fighting with the Lord, but still He is dominant there. And when you move to the Prabhu state, He is everything, you are nothing. And then you move on to the 11th and 12th godly regions, and the 13th, which is the central region. So Prapanna Prabhu state is when we arrive at that surrender. We can say that this stage is the real beginning of the process of simplification, which continues to refine as we progress further. So, point 9 is just the beginning of simplicity. Imagine how much work we have to put on ourselves. Dedicated practice. According to sage Patanjali, he has created the Ashtanga Yoga. We know all that. At chakra 9, we start to really cooperate with the work of the guide. That means until then, we are fighting, our ego is fighting. Him and me, him and me. And I see this struggle inside myself. A lot of times, the master says something, and I said, no, it's not like, mentally, it's like you are rebelling. That is why we have to work with this technique of this stubbornness is leaving me. So at chakra 9, we start to really cooperate with the work of the guide, cultivating those behaviors and habits that support his efforts to shatter the network woven by us that made us complex. So for the master to shatter our individual network, surrender has to happen. The state of being of surrender has to happen. So we arrive at simplicity. So such habits include the 8 steps of Patanjali Yoga, which are our 10 maxims: yama, good conduct; niyama, regular observation of principles; asana, posture; pranayama, breathing; pratyahara is the inner withdrawal; dharana is the flow, mental focus; dhyana, meditation; and samadhi, arriving at that state of ultimate being. So, weaving our destiny, we have to rekindle the latent power, that ultimate power, the power that was present at the time of creation is present in us too. A speck of that ultimate divinity is in us. That is why our mind is so powerful. That's why Raja Yoga is very effective. We have that latent motion, the ultimate God, the seed, the gene of the divinity itself inside ourselves. So the power that was present at the time of creation is present in us too, although it is trapped in the cocoon of our own creation. So that essence is trapped in our individual network. By rekindling it, by awakening the divinity in us, using it in the right way, we attain our goal. That is why we meditate. We have to re-own this latent power. Try to re-own the latent power that is the very quintessence of nature by breaking up the network woven by yourself, taking up as the ideal of simplicity of nature which is before everybody's view. We may set to work for the attainment of the goal in a way that all senses have merged, and may become synonymous with that which remains after the fading away of previous impressions. So, cleaning has to remove the impressions, meditation has to divert the senses towards the inner essence, which is the latent power, and we are awakening that, releasing our individual network, mastering the senses, where the senses are coming to that absolute state that when they were created originally. So this leads to refinement of character. So spiritual practice is all about the purification of the subtle bodies. When we meditate, where does it have effect? It has the effect on our consciousness, which is our subtle body. When we eat, where does it have effect? It has the effect on our physical body. So, spiritual practice is all about the purification of the subtle bodies, and the necessary parallel in our character refinement is simplification and removal of behavioral complexities. Sage Patanjali says, our arrival at the stillness of the latent state is the result of our practice, our regular practice, us letting go of desires. That is how the prayer is designed in such a way that, oh, Master, thou art the real goal of human life. Your consciousness is my goal. Your state of being is my goal. We are but slaves of our wishes, putting bar to our advancement. Thou art the only God and power to bring me up to that state, because that's how we are connecting our consciousness to the Guru's consciousness, accepting his willpower, his state of being has to pull us up to that ultimate state of simplicity and latent motion. So, our ability to let go of all our desires and wishes, known as vairagya. So, when we say the prayer, we naturally arrive at this state of vairagya. That's why they made our practice so simple. Removal of complexities. Through the practice and removal of unwanted complexities, we start to resonate with the absolute state. The original state of stillness and restlessness disappears. Revered Babuji says, we must go on reducing activities. Unnecessary activities should be shunned. Shaking off all superfluities. So, a lot of times people think, oh, heartful communication is like I'm only talking sweetly to people. It is not about talking sweetly to people. It is about talking from that state of pure being. Being pure is heartful communication. Because a lot of times I go to Daji, I'm getting blasted. He's not talking softly, sweetly with me. So I'm thinking, oh, you're supposed to have heartful communication. He's not doing that. So what did I learn from it? Heartful communication is not that. It is speaking truth from a state of pure state of being with love for the being. He's blasting me because he loves me. He wants to see me change. And the only way is that, like a mother, when you are stern with your baby, it hurts you more than them. You have to be stern to bring that, refine the character of the child. So, that is all superfluities. We have to truly go to that pure state and understand the teachings, shaking of all superfluities that have entered our being for the purpose of shattering the individual network and assuming the purest state we have to finally to acquire. As we simplify our life and resonate with our divine nature, we become purer and purer. So, how do we cultivate habits which will be conducive to shatter our network? Revered Babaji Maharaj says, our ears should attend to noble talks. Eyes should see that which is pious and good. Our heart should be inclined towards that which is virtuous. We must put in our sincere efforts to shatter the network. And at every state, there are practices and meditation for this purpose. But a strong will and confidence in the Guru and in yourself are essential everywhere. Reduce all activities, shaking of superfluities, shaking the individual, shattering the individual network, and assume the purest state that you have to finally acquire. And this is possible only when we associate ourselves with the one who, having shattered his own network, the master, has had enough swimming in the infinite. And that is the role of the living master. So finally, Babuji's message about weaving destiny. He says we are all brethren connected intellectually, morally, and spiritually. The main goal of human life. That is, all of us are connected. This and that have gone now. There remains purity alone in his work and environment, which weaves the spiritual destiny of the being with the ultimate. So, when we arrive at that state of purity alone, we weave our spiritual destiny, and that is the state of simplicity. And he speaks about spiritual connection as the main goal of human life. That's why Daji says, connect yourself. Dualities are gone. Eventually, we go beyond opposites. We transcend the dualities of worldly existence, where purity starts dawning more often. And that is the final state of simplicity. Where we arrive at that state of purity is the final state of simplicity, according to revered Babuji Maharaj. So, that is our presentation for today, Understanding the Maxim. Let us now meditate. Close your eyes softly. Take a deep breath and let go. Feel grounded to the earth. Feel the healing energy from Mother Earth enter into your being. And begin with relaxing your toes, feet, ankles, and your legs. Be aware of your legs. Relax your legs. Take another deep breath and let go. Feel the energy flow into your knees, into your thighs, into your hips. Feel firmly grounded in the seat. Feel the free flow of energy flowing there, relaxing you. Take another deep breath and let go gently. Feel the energy flow into your lower back. Relax your lower back. Feel it flow into your upper back. Relax your upper back. Keeping your spine erect. Bring your awareness to your stomach muscles. Feel the energy flow there. Take a deep breath and let go gently. Feel the energy flow into your chest. Relax your chest. Bring your awareness to your fingers. Feel the energy in your fingers. Relax your fingers. Let the energy flow through your palm, flowing into your wrists. Feel it in your arms. Focus on your elbows and let it flow into your upper arms. Feel the free flow of energy flowing in your hands, relaxing your hands. Take another deep breath and let go. Your hands are completely relaxed. Bring your awareness to your shoulders. Feel the stress melting away. Relax your shoulders. Consciously relax your neck, tongue. Relax your facial muscles. Deeply relax your eyes, eyebrows, temples, and forehead. Feel your brain is resting. Your mind is calm. Your body is completely relaxed. Bring your awareness to your heart. Feel your heart. Enter your sacred space. Bring yourself to a state of humbleness in prayer, where the heart beats. Remind yourself with the intention the source of light is present within you. The light from the source is illuminating your entire being. Your mind is drawn to this light. Your mind is resting in the light. The ocean of light, the ocean of love is in you. You are a drop submerged in this ocean. Rest in the light. Let's meditate. That's all. Feel the calmness spread throughout your being. From this place of calmness, make the intention. All my senses are in a state of balance. They have arrived at their original character. All my feelings are in silence. All the chakras in my system are in a state of balance. They are in harmony with each other. Every cell in my being is imbued with love. Every cell in my being is absorbing the silence. Feel the calmness spread throughout your being. You may open your eyes when you are ready. Thank you all for joining the meditation today. Have a beautiful day. If you have any questions, you may write to us. Our email address is floating on the screen. Have a beautiful day, and we will see you all later. Thank you.